What's up, guys? We just got back from Santee Cooper. Had a great event down there. That lake is just so much fun. There's so much to do. Everything looks so good, and there is giant bass there. So kind of breaking down practice, the beginning, first day of practice, we got down there, I think Monday. Went out to an area that just kind of had a lot of flats, just deeper water, shallower water, a little bit of everything. So we could try to figure out were they just coming off the bank? Are they guarding fry? Are they out floating in the middle? Are they trying to recoup from the spawn? Obviously we had the privilege of having the elites there 2 weeks before. So we had a little bit of an idea of what those guys were doing, kind of the tail end of the spawn, and then, the quake bite on docks is what won that tournament. But the fish, they didn't get to use forward-facing sonar, so you didn't see a lot of the offshore stuff, but you figure there's gotta be fish offshore. So, I started off my practice with that and went out kind of looking for fish and found a decent bite in that 8 to 12 feet of, whether it was grass or wood or, whatever was out there, but those fish seemed to be kind of congregating in that depth zone. And throwing the Koik full cast or the 17 millimeter on the first day of practice, I caught a 24, I caught a couple 20s, I probably had right around 100 inches, if not a little bit over. Just an incredible day of fishing right when we got there. So kind of showed me where the fish were, but it was just hard to stay on that bite all week. So moved away from it a little bit. As the week went on, I just kind of couldn't get that Koik to be the same. Every bite you got on it was a 20 or a 21 or a 22, but it was just 2 bites a day or 1 bite a day, or I went one day I caught one 16-inch bass. It just wasn't very consistent. So the last day of practice, I ended up shooting down to the South Lake, down on Moultrie. It's clearer, sets up a little bit more like northern fishing for me. Just being able to kind of find my strength down there, and the fish were on fry, super easy to catch, big expansive grass flats, so you could kind of fish a couple different things. And then there was deep water close by, so you could kind of go out and venture out there and see what those fish were doing. Friday in practice, I caught one out in 16 feet off of a little high spot out there. That was probably right around 20 inches. And then I caught a good one fry guarding that was 19 change. And then I went out 12 feet and I caught one that ate the Koik. So I was like, all right, there's multiple different patterns here. This seems like a great place to start the tournament. And with the way that the wind was coming in on Sunday, it was blowing from the east, going east to west. So I thought, okay, let's try to find something a little bit protected for Sunday, but Saturday, flat calm, I'm gonna start out here. So kind of fast forward to tournament day, I went out to a spot that I'd never even fished in practice. It just set up right. It set up similar to where I found them on that Friday, and started pretty quick, just catching fish. I think in this video I missed the first 2 because it was kind of raining and whatever. I just didn't want to screw up the camera, but I caught a lot of fish, just good numbers, but not a ton of size, and chased that bite around, and then on the fry guarding thing, and then I found them on bait a little bit later, and that's where I caught a couple bigger ones. And then I caught one on the minnow, on the Martin's Custom Baits minnow head that I throw all the time, 3/16 ounce. But kind of had those 2 deals going. So that's really what I focused on. The 2 rods that I really used, this is a Lew's, this is the KVD, it's called the Smallmouth Special. It's a 7.4 medium, extra fast. It's just I don't know, I throw a lot of stuff on this. I'll throw lighter minnows, throw a lighter Nico rig, anything that's a little bit lighter. It has pretty good sensitivity. But this week I was throwing a drop shot. My leader, probably about a foot long. And then just this is the red line Nico hook. So throwing that on there, I was Texas rigging just a little, I flipped between a few different worms, but the big one for me was this swamp crawler from Zoom. It's a smaller worm, and I don't think they needed anything really big. I think once you got around that fry, they would just protect it. And with the smaller worm with a little bit bigger hook, I was able to, once I got those fish to eat, able to get them in the boat. later on in the day, I switched to this X-Zone Deception worm, which is a little bit bigger profile, and I did catch a couple on that too. Just the size a little bit bigger, so once I didn't really need a limit anymore and I was looking for that like a little bit bigger caliber, I switched to this worm. But in that morning dawn color in both of them, throwing on a Shimano Stratic, I use 10-pound, this is Suffix Resolve braid, and then this was actually a 15-pound leader. Just because there was grass, those fry garters were on stumps a lot, so like if I did get hung up around that, I wanted that line to just be abrasive enough. And the fish didn't really seem to care about like being line shy or anything like that, so I figured the little bit heavier that I could go, the better off I would be. This is what I caught my biggest fish on in the tournament, as you'll see in this video, but yeah, this setup worked great for me. For the majority, probably 95% of my fish came on that. And the other rod reel that I caught a fish on, those fish that were out chasing bait during the tournament, this is a Daiwa Tatula rod, 7.6. It's like a medium, I would say, medium light, but throwing Martin's Custom Baits 3/16 ounce head on it with a Sakamata shad. That's just the 5-inch. Caught one fish on that in the tournament, so it wasn't a huge player, but it was one of my better fish. So throwing that on the same 10-pound Resolve, Suffix Resolve braid to this is a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. I like the Seagar Invisex, the yellow box. I love that line. Not a sponsor of mine. I throw Suffix braid and I throw the Seagar fluoro, but that's just a combination that I've found for me works really good. That line is just very durable. If you've kind of been on the channel before, you know that I throw that line quite a bit. So that's really my bread and butter setup right there. The Koiks, I threw them, I have them. I didn't catch a ton of fish on it this week outside of the 1 day of practice. So, you know, the full cast, and then you have the 17 mil. I had better luck on the 17 mil, but I really never threw those enough to get a ton of confidence in them. It's not something I throw a lot at home, but after watching the elites down there, you kind of knew it was a deal, and our tournament was won on it, but I just couldn't get that dialed in. So I kind of went back to things that I had confidence in, fishing for numbers. So kind of had two decisions to make, or a decision to make going into this tournament with two different areas. So I could have went to the area that had the bigger fish, where if I were to get 5 bites, I would be shocked if it wasn't over 100 inches. It was very hard to get bit there. There was one day out of two days of practice that I went there where I actually caught 5 fish. The other day I caught 1. So I didn't have a ton of confidence in that. The other area on the lower lake, I was like, you know what, if I go down there, I think I can fish new water, and if that doesn't pan out, I can get over to water that I practice on where I know there's fry garters, and those fry garters are not hard to catch. So kind of played it a little bit safer than I normally would have, but I really wasn't sure I could catch 5. And in the kayak world, in these big tournaments, having 5 fish is just such a huge part of it. Obviously you want to catch the bigger ones. Big ones live everywhere at Santee. That's just how it goes. So, you know, having that mindset, if I was going to go out there and grind it out, I thought I could get a good bite or two. Really only ended up with 1, but yeah, that's the decision I had to make. So I kind of played it a little bit safer, went and caught those fish early. Day 2 was supposed to blow out of the east, left a lot of protected stuff, had some good stuff to go fish on day 2, I think. Obviously everyone thinks they're going to catch it when you don't get to go. They canceled day 2. Pretty disappointing. You hate to see that. You hate to go down there, spend all the time practicing, find stuff out of the wind, and then have it get canceled. But angler safety is the most important part. So I get it. Tough decision for the directors and Steve-O and the Bassmaster crew, but at the end of the day, everyone made it home safe. So clearly the right decision. But would have loved to get back out there one more day, wrap this one up in 16th with 94 3/4 inches. So caught some good ones, but yeah, that's the bread and butter of what I was using, and we'll put some fish catches in here. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video and this tournament recap. Let's freaking go, baby. Oh, dude, no, dude. Why are you chasing bait around? I don't think so. This is a giant. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Oh, and that hook just fell out. God. That is a giant one. Thank you, big girl. Thank you. Thank you. yeah, that's what I did, guys. We're gonna be doing a lot more of the YouTube stuff, trying to give you guys more content, more, you know, baits, tips, tricks, a little bit of everything. Not only for tournaments, but just now when I go fishing, just to try to help other people who are getting into the sport and want to learn a little bit more. So thank you all for following along on these. Leave a comment, let me know if there's something you guys want to see specifically. But we'll be pushing these out, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys at the next one.